Day 1, silence, self-observation through breath.
Okay, so the first thing that really jumps out from this transcript is the emphasis on commitment right away.
Oh, definitely. It's not eased in gently.
No, the speaker talks about hard work, serious hard work, like 4.0 or 4:30 a.m. start times, going right through to 9:00 or 9:30 p.m.
Yeah.
And they really stress diligent, patient, persistent effort continuously. It sets the tone immediately, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It signals that, changing deep mental habits isn't a casual thing. It takes real energy right from the get-go.
Yeah, a significant investment.
And it's made super clear that it's your own effort that counts. You get out what you put in, essentially, not just listening or thinking about it.
Right. Okay, so then there are these evening talks, an hour, hour and a half each day.
You might think those are for, I don't know, winding down some philosophy.
Not primarily. The transcript frames them as, well, essential, vital for understanding the technique itself.
Ah, okay.
Crucially, how to practice it correctly. It says, you can put in tons of effort, but if you don't understand the method...
You might not get the results you're looking for.
Exactly. So it's about informed effort, working within their specific framework.
Got it. And the core of that framework from day 1 is watching your breath, your natural breath.
Yes. And this is a really key distinction they make.
Because when you hear breath observation, you might think, okay, breathing exercises, controlling the breath.
Right, like pranayama or something. But they explicitly say, no, don't do that.
Why is that so important, that difference?
Well, it's fundamental to Vipassana. The instruction is simply to be aware of the breath as it naturally comes in and goes out. Just notice it.
So, is it deep? Is it shallow? Which nostril? That kind of thing.
Precisely. Just observing the reality of it moment by moment, not trying to change it, not wishing it were different.
Just watching it happen.
Yeah, like watching a river flow without trying to build a dam or change its path. You're just observing its natural state.
Okay, that sounds, well, simple on the surface. Just watch your breath. But the transcript also talks about discomfort pretty early on.
It does. Day 1, people often feel things like leg pain, backache, maybe headaches.
Right. So what's behind that? Is it just sitting for so long?
The transcript gives 2 main reasons. One is, just the body and mind resisting something new and unfamiliar. We have our routines, and this is different, intense.
Sure, makes sense. Resistance to change.
But the second reason is maybe more significant. It suggests the technique itself is starting to work.
How so?
By just observing, without reacting, you start to become aware of discomforts that were maybe already there, but, latent, under the surface. They start coming up.
Ah, I see. Okay. Now, this is where I found it really interesting. The speaker explains why they don't use things that seem like they'd help concentration.
Like mantras or visualizations.
Exactly. Repeating words, imagining images. Lots of other meditation types use those. Why does Vipassana avoid them?
It boils down to the ultimate goal, according to the transcript anyway.
Which isn't just concentration.
Right. Concentration and calm are useful, definitely. They can happen. But Vipassana is aiming for something deeper. Purification. Cleaning out the mind at the root level.
Root level.
Yeah, changing those deep ingrained negative habits and patterns. Concentration is presented more as a tool to get there, not the end goal itself.
So it's like trimming leaves versus pulling out the whole weed.
That's a good way to put it. It's not just about feeling calm temporarily. It's about fundamentally changing how the mind reacts.
And they connect this to how we usually react to unpleasant things, right? This idea of tying knots.
Exactly. Something happens we don't like, and boom, we create tension, negativity, anger, ill will, hatred, all that stuff.
We tie ourselves in knots.
We do, and it leads to inner agitation, misery. Vipassana, the idea is, helps you see how you do that, where you generate it, experientially.
Not just thinking about it, but feeling it happen.
Yes. That's the core, which connects to that old wisdom, know thyself.
But not just intellectually.
No, absolutely not. Not just believing it because someone said so or reading it in a book. It has to be a lived, felt experience in your own body and mind.
And that's why the body and the breath within it are so central.
That's the framework for the work. The breath is the tool to access that experiential level within your own physical being.
Which also explains why they avoid tying the technique to specific religions, right? No specific deities or words.
Precisely. The argument is that suffering misery, anger, hatred, It's universal. It doesn't have a religion or a nationality.
So the cure needs to be universal, too.
Exactly. Non-sectarian. Breath is universal. Everyone breathes. So it's an anchor point for observing truths that apply to everyone, experienced directly.
Not based on dogma or belief, but on your own moment-to-moment reality.
That's the ideal, yes.
Yeah.
Direct experience of truth within yourself.
So you stick with the breath, this universal anchor, and gradually you start perceiving things more subtly.
That's the process described. Moving from the gross, obvious sensations toward subtler realities of mind and matter.
And eventually, potentially beyond that.
The transcript hints at that, yeah. Transcending the field of mind and matter entirely, experiencing some kind of ultimate truth. Though that's, yeah, way down the line.
Sounds like quite a journey. And this self-knowledge, it's linked to understanding a bigger picture, some universal law of nature.
Yes, the idea is that by understanding yourself deeply, you start to understand the laws that govern everything, how things work.
And this law just operates.
Impartially is the idea. Actions have consequences, but you only see it clearly, the transcript says, if you observe properly, without adding your own judgments or interpretations onto your experience. Just watch.
Okay, there's that analogy they use about the breath being like a bridge.
Yeah, between the known and the unknown, like the near bank and the far bank of a river.
How does that work?
Well, breath is interesting, isn't it? You
Yeah.
can control it consciously,
Right. Hold your breath, breathe deeply.
but it also just happens automatically, all the time.
Ah, so it straddles the conscious and the unconscious.
Exactly. It's both voluntary and involuntary. That makes it a unique bridge, connecting your conscious mind to, well, the deeper automatic processes of the body and maybe even deeper realities.
Okay. And even while you're trying to focus on the breath, the mind does its thing.
Oh, absolutely. It wanders. That's one of the first things you notice.
The transcript talks about it jumping to the past or worrying about the future.
Constantly. That's the untrained mind's habit. Rolling in memories, good and bad. Projecting into the future, hopes and fears. Anywhere but right here, right now.
Avoiding the present moment.
Pretty much, yeah.
And those wanderings, those thoughts about past and future, they fuel our reactions, liking this, disliking that.
That's the connection they make. Pleasant thought or memory. The mind reacts with liking, craving, clinging. That's raga.
Unpleasant one.
Disliking, aversion, pushing away, that's desha. And these reactions, this constant pulling and pushing, keeps the mind off balance. Miserable.
And it's often kind of random, isn't it? The thoughts aren't always logical.
Right. The transcript mentions ignorance, avidya, or moha, not really understanding why the mind does what it does.
Yeah.
And yeah, the thoughts can seem disjointed, almost mad, as they put it.
Which probably makes it tempting to try other techniques, maybe ones you already know during the course.
Definitely. But they strongly advise against that.
Right, the analogies, the two horses pulling different ways.
Yeah, the white horse and the black horse. Or trying to row two boats at once. You won't get anywhere effectively.
So the message is, commit to this technique fully for the 10 days. Don't mix things.
Exactly. Give it a fair trial, see how it works without diluting it.
Okay. Then the transcript wraps up with some pretty serious warnings and advice for the rest of the course.
Yeah, it gets quite intense there.
Feeling it a deep surgical operation of the mind. That's evocative.
It really is. It prepares you for the fact that, well, difficult stuff might come up. Deeply rooted issues, complexes, like pus from a wound is the analogy used, yeah. So the advice is, face it bravely, don't run from unpleasantness. It's part of the purification.
There's another strong image, too, about hot charcoal.
Right, throwing cold water on hot charcoal, it causes a strong reaction, hissing and steam. It suggests that when moments of mental purity, gained through practice, touch these deep impurities, there can be intense internal reactions.
So be prepared for turbulence, basically.
And be determined to see it through. Stay the whole 10 days, like you wouldn't leave mid-surgery.
Makes sense. And stick to the schedule, right? Every minute counts. Stay in the hall during meditation times.
Yes, and even limit rest breaks. Only 5 minutes, they say, to avoid getting drowsy. Stay alert.
Practical tips, too, like meditate inside at first.
Yeah, apparently it's easier to feel the subtle touch of the breath indoors, away from wind and other sensations.
And mindful eating, not stuffing yourself.
Right. Eat maybe 3/4 full, they suggest. Makes meditation easier than being totally full or sluggish.
And the silence. That's obviously critical.
Absolutely crucial. Noble silence. Not just avoiding talk, but preventing all that extra mental chatter that comes from interacting. And interestingly, avoiding telling little lies out of habit.
Oh, right. Stay within the boundaries, too.
Yeah, stay within the demarcated area of the center.
Yeah.
for focus and probably safety too.
It's a very contained, very focused environment they're creating.
Totally. Everything is designed to support that deep dive inward.
But despite all the intensity and warnings, there's a positive note at the end.
Definitely. A sense of potential. If you follow the instructions diligently, real positive change is possible. Significant change.
And they clarify the chanting, Havatu Sabha Mangalam.
Yeah, and the response, sadhu. They explain it's not just ritual, it's an expression of goodwill. May all beings be happy. A shared wish for everyone's well-being.
Ah, that's nice. Okay, so wrapping up our deep dive into day one.
It paints a picture of a very demanding but very focused practice.
Yeah, grounded in serious effort, understanding the specific technique through those talks and that core practice. Just observing the natural breath.
Without interfering.
Right. And the goal isn't just relaxation, it's deep mental purification. Seeing experientially how you create your own negativity.
And experiencing truth directly, within yourself, universally, non-sectarianly, using the breath as the key.
Aiming for, ultimately, a pretty profound transformation.
What really strikes me overall is that constant return to direct experience. It's not theoretical. It's about watching what's actually happening inside you right now.
Yeah. This personal investigation, using your own body and breath as the lab, almost.
Yeah.
That seems to be the absolute heart of it.
That's the path they lay out, right from day one.
Or
Understanding yourself, and maybe through that, understanding something much bigger.
it's definitely given us and you a lot to think about, a really clear glimpse into the start of this intense path.
For sure.
So maybe a final thought for you to consider as you go about your day. Just notice, how often does your mind drift? To yesterday, to tomorrow? Planning, remembering, worrying, and just imagine what would it feel like to be fully here, just for one breath cycle, aware of the air coming in, going out. Maybe that's a little experiment worth trying.
A mini Vipassana moment.
Exactly. Something to explore. Well, that's all for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.